How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Monitor Comics, the channel where we used to create comics and manga. As many of you may have noticed, I've been missing in action for at least a few months, but I have a very good explanation for that. College is rough, pandemics suck, and TV is good. In today's video, we're going to be talking about character development. This video is actually brought to you by people like you. Thank you, Miss Penguin and Major Gunpowder, for the video suggestion. In short, character development is a term used in writing to describe the process of building unique, three-dimensional characters with depth, personality, and clear motivations. All things I do not have. A recent example of a character with great character development is Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. Steve starts out as a douchey boyfriend who everybody hated. While the writer could have easily kept Steve as the unsuitable and ridiculous asshat, he was instead given a character redemption arc that showcased his caring and flawed nature. Now he's serving ice cream and acting as a mother figure to the main kid group. He quickly became one of my favorite characters. I even own a limited edition Baskin-Robbins Funko Pop of him. Character development can also refer to the changes a character undergoes over the course of your story. Usually this change is the direct result of a character's actions or experiences. For this type of character development, think of characters like Carol from The Walking Dead. At the start of the story, Carol was afraid to speak out of line due to her abusive relationship with her husband. Throughout the series, Carol saw some things, did some things, and eventually became almost unrecognizable. Or should I say, she made that one girl's little face unrecognizable. We can also think of characters like Vegeta from Dragonball Z. Vegeta was first introduced as a proud warrior prince with no attachments. Vegeta's only goal in life was to be the strongest warrior in the universe. If you've ever read or watched Dragon Ball Z, I'm sure you remember Vegeta killing most of the main cast, and his own best friend. Fast forward a bit and we can see Vegeta undergoes a drastic transformation. Vegeta's now a family man who would ride or die for his wife and child. Getting into the meat of the video, we can talk about why character development is necessary for your comics, manga, novels, plays, and One Direction fanfictions. A story consists of two main things, your characters and the events you're putting them through. These two elements are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. Without a clear sense of who your character is, what they value, and what they're afraid of, your reader will not care about the significance of your story events. It's important to think about your character as actual people. Write down their hobbies, pets, histories, obsessions, etc. Use one of those lengthy OC original character sheets people used to fill out on DeviantArt. So, how does character development affect your story? Your main character should have some sort of goal they're trying to achieve in your story. This sets the stakes. It really doesn't matter if your story has high stakes like saving the world or low stakes like trying to get through high school. All that matters is your character's goals should be important to them. Your job as the writer is to explicitly establish what's important to your character so your audience can relate and have a clear idea of the repercussions that might come if your character is unable to achieve their goal. So now let's start talking about how to actually develop your characters. Let's first break down the character types that are going to be present in your comics. The protagonist's main role is to propel the story forward and is often the character that faces the most obstacles. There are many archetypes of protagonists, including omniscience and unreliable narrators. Let me know down in the comment section below if you'd like to see a whole video dedicated solely to protagonists. To develop your protagonist, they can't start out perfect or overpowered. Characters who have everything from the get-go can get boring really quick. This is the main reason I'm personally not a fan of One Punch Man or Sword Art Online. I know One Punch Man is a parody on a superhero genre, but I'm unable to stay interested in a series where I know every single outcome. Characters grow from the challenges they encounter and learn from their experiences. The best way to realistically portray this growth is to take inspiration from your own life. I'm sure you've heard of the term character arc thrown around. This simply refers to the moment the character engages with the trial. The character arc concludes when the character is able to resolve the conflict. This experience then allows the character to grow as a person and become more mature and overcome adversity. An example of a character undergoing this type of transformation is Gaara from Naruto. Gaara was first introduced as a primary villain. Due to his tragic past, Gaara grew up only looking out for himself and vowed to kill anyone stronger than him. After being defeated by Naruto, he realizes that Naruto has a different kind of strength, and he attempts to emulate that. By the end of the series, he's become a completely different person who's compassionate and willing to help others. He even earns the love and respect of his village, and they appoint him as their new leader. This is a good transition into the next topic I want to discuss: developing antagonistic characters. Antagonists, also referred to as villains, serve to oppose the main character. This character provides an obstacle that the protagonist must overcome to achieve their goals. Dealing with the antagonist often reveals the flaws of the protagonist and allows them to grow from the experience. An antagonist's motivation should create a crisis for your protagonist. Your protagonist needs to feel threatened and come to terms that they must get through this obstacle to progress in the story. Most villains should have their own morality or sense of justice. It doesn't matter how twisted or warped. If your antagonist is going around killing people, they should have some sort of reason the audience can relate to for why they're doing that. These reasons could easily connect to the antagonist's backstory or own experiences. The best antagonists are the ones that make you go, I know what you're doing is absolutely crazy, but I kinda get it. In my opinion, my least favorite antagonist trope is the villains that are evil for the sake of being evil. I'm looking at you, Vanitas. Readers want to see your character succeed, but they don't want it to be easy. Your villain should not only be able to match your protagonist, they should be even more powerful than them. This creates the incentive that your character will need to improve their skills, gather allies, or work hard to finally defeat the antagonist. This can be seen in a lot of sports anime like Haikyuu. Aside from protagonists and antagonists, secondary characters are also very important for your comics and manga. They help round out your story. These characters may help the main characters, oppose them, or be completely neutral. The role of secondary characters is to help the reader see the protagonist or the antagonist in different ways. To develop secondary characters, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. Secondary characters should be complementary or oppositional to your protagonist. Secondary characters assist your main characters. They teach them new things, they give them emotional support, and sometimes they just provide comic relief. Some of the best secondary characters are oppositional to the protagonist. These characters that sometimes undermine the protagonist can be referred to as foil characters. The role of these characters is to provide a different perspective into your protagonist's morals or way of thinking. Just having a yes man around can be boring, so by providing tiny conflicts between secondary characters and your protagonist, you'll be able to explore a variety of perspectives while keeping your reader interested. To wrap this discussion up, I want to leave you with a few tips to write good character development. 1. Create characters who reflect your own interests. Since you're going to be spending a lot of time with your characters anyway, it can be easier to base your characters on people you know in real life. By infusing your characters with your own hobbies, morals, fears, etc., it can be much easier to get inside their heads when deciding how they react to a certain situation. 2. Set your characters up to grow. Your characters should start off with a certain skill set that will allow them to function in your setting. If they want to be a master swordsman by the end of the series, they should have a basic understanding of how to use a sword. Remember, your character doesn't have to be perfect. It's much more interesting to watch your character struggle and grow over time. 3. Make your character memorable. While each character in your story serves a certain role, try to make them as human as possible. Try to give each character a quirk or a quality so readers can easily recall who is who. It's very easy to get stuck in your own head and have every character sound like each other if you aren't careful. 4. Give the reader access to your character's inner conflict. By allowing your reader to hear the thought process of your character, you create a sense of intimacy. Internal monologue helps reveal your character's opinions, conflict, and motivations to the reader without revealing that information to other characters physically present in the scene. Subvert your expectations. The most interesting characters will surprise your reader. This can be a drastic personality shift or a character acting unexpectedly. Think about it, when things are stable and familiar, we get comfortable and tend not to care. If something unexpected happens, we start to pay attention. Finally, 6. Show, don't tell. Give your reader credit. Trust them to notice changes in your character's qualities or dialogues between other characters. You failed as a writer if you have to explicitly mention how the character has changed or been affected in your own story. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you got some sort of value out of this and can apply some of these tips to your own projects. If you want to keep up with me and my own work, please consider following me on Instagram. I post all my finished artwork and announcements there. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. This channel has grown so much so quickly, and I want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to support me and the channel. Please share this video around with your friends if you found it useful. If you're looking for something else to watch after this video, I would love to point you towards some of my other videos. We've already discussed a ton of cool topics such as choosing comic effects for your manga, writing comic scripts, lettering your comics, and even creating storyboards. We have a ton more comic making tutorials on the channel, and I hope you can check those out after you're done watching this one. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. As always, keep creating, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.